in 2.5 years, we've given over $11 million in rebates, but 350 million points.
I had this idea for This Is School Meals, and I just could not get it out of my head. Like, the script was in my head. So I ended up writing it on an airplane.
We're definitely the leading, really the only reward point guy, but now combined rebate process, we're the leading, and we just see a total upside. This 7 times points is going to be huge.
Hey, welcome back. We have an amazing episode today. We have Joe Guadagnino from Cool School Prime. Joe, what is up, brother? We've been trying to do this forever.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We owe you this. I had to cancel one because of the bad weather.
Well, the weather's not your
fault. And blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, and we've been talking about collaborating, just like you and I personally, for even longer.
I know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, give me your backstory, and then we'll get into how we met.
Backstory as in...
Like, how'd you get here today?
How'd I get here today? How far back do you want me to go?
Well, I'm sure we can't go back too far. I'm sure you got some pretty funny, entertaining, crazy stories of you in your youth.
I may or may not.
Yeah, but let's talk professionally. So how'd you get to Cool School Prime and
why? Yeah, it's a great story. So for 14 or 18 years, I had some fast food restaurants in the Buffalo, New York area. And
what kind of fast food?
Oh God, I did South Philly Steak and Fry.
Oh man,
Bananas Frosty Fruit Shakes, Gretel's Pretzels, Great American Cookie Company. What was it was called Everything Yogurt at the time, but then it went and became Greenleaf's Grill, which was like all salads and frozen yogurt and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would have like 401 and another, and then we did a pizza place and. So at the end, I was a high-paid babysitter, honestly. But there was a company called Dining Alliance, which I knew of. I'm originally from Rochester. That started in Rochester, and it was to get independent restaurants to get better pricing, to pool their purchasing, to get better pricing, to kind of compete with the chains. I loved that concept because I lived it. And in one of the malls that I was in, I was a franchisee. And Cisco was our distributor at the time, and I would buy whatever. And the guy next to us went out. So a partner and myself put a place next to us, right? Because we were already in the mall. And, we get set up, we're getting going, and it was like a kind of like a Subway knockoff, okay? So I just assumed you get the same pricing because I've been getting, 4 years or so. The Cisco guy comes, we set him up with the account with the new place, and everything comes in, and I'm paying $4 more for ketchup than I was at my franchise. So I start questioning, and that's how I really learned firsthand about how this works.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, the company was 4 or 5 years old, started by a son right out of NYU, John Davey, great guy, and his dad, Cliff Davey, who had done a GPO in the office supply business and in plumbing. Guys, did it all, right? And they wanted to maybe expand into Buffalo. And I happened to answer an ad. I still had a couple stores at the time. We got together, and I just said to Cliff, his dad, I said, hey, I know all the restaurants in Buffalo, so let's give it a whirl, pretty much. So we did.
Okay.
And I think within 2 years, I think I signed up like 200 or 300 restaurants in the Buffalo area. That allowed John and his family to say, wait a minute, if this worked now, Rochester, Buffalo, let's do Syracuse, let's do Albany, let's do, I think Pittsburgh was next, and then Boston. And that was, the other thing, they call me the poster boy because I was actually the first employee.
Were you?
Let's fast forward now, and I'll kind of skip. It's 22 years I've been there.
Okay.
John now owns 38 companies.
Goodness.
Under the Buyer's Edge platform umbrella with 1,200 employees. And I say to John all the time, I'm like a proud guy because it's the American dream, right? You watch a kid, I call him a kid. He was 25 at the time or whatever when I met him, that, just grinding every day, him and his dad. His dad had to take money out of his 401k to keep the business afloat.
Now that goes.
And we would meet at this Greek restaurant on Fridays to talk about what went right and what went wrong that week. That's how strange it is, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, here we are all this time later. So I did the Dining Alliance. Then John bought a company called Consolidated Concepts, which is all chain buying. We have the largest produce GPO in the country. He's got technology like you can't believe. There's a whole back office system there. It's just incredible on how it was.
Wow.
And so I was with that company, and then in 2021, he said to me, I'm going to purchase Cool Schools. Always wanted to get into K-12. I, as you know, was with a competitor, kind of running that for, I don't even know how long, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was. And it's a great space. And John kind of likes to have something everywhere, kind of a visionary too. And he sees what it can be. Make a long story short, I had come back with John and purchased Cool Schools because really they're the best company in K-12. 30 years old. The districts love them. It's a great idea. Reward points on items that you purchase all the time. Great reputation, great people. And that's kind of what John has done in all these 38 companies he's purchased. His idea was, okay, how do we take this to the next level? Mm-hmm. And, like Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
We made Cool School Prime, and just kind of to take it to what we think will be the next level, which we can get into whatever, but this was my background. So,
Yeah,
so we'll go over that later.
I love that. And
Yeah.
you're right. Districts do love Cool Schools. So
Yeah.
I used to work for Pasco County.
Yeah.
I was the IT program manager there for food and nutrition services.
Yep.
And of course, we would go to ANC every year and all the conferences. And I tell you what, it was always a competition to see who can get the most Cool School points.
Right.
And that's how we got to the conference too.
Right.
It was on Cool School
Right.
points. And a shameless plug and shout out to you guys. Since then, of course, I have NxtGen Network now. And we've collaborated and partnered on a few things. But one of those things that we're partnering on is making our services available to school districts through Cool School points.
Yep.
I tell you what, man, it has been absolutely amazing. I would say probably like half of the people that signed up for like our masterclass and the other stuff that we're doing, they use Cool School points to do it. And I feel like it makes it easier for everybody.
Yep.
Like I know you guys have industry partners, obviously, and
Yep.
now I get to be one of them.
Yep.
And it's just a huge like benefit for us to partner with you guys just because of how simple you make it for everybody.
Yeah. And really, like, I talked about how we take it to the next level and what we did, and that'll be interesting too for you to hear about this whole point thing that we just kind of uncovered last week, which was kind of my fault a little bit. But anyways, there's going to be more points than ever available.
All right,
it's just crazy. So
right now,
let's go back. I gotta interrupt you for a minute.
All right.
I want to go back to when the heck we met and how we started.
Yeah, yes. So we met, oh man, was that back in 2020?
Was I supposed to cut the host off? I don't know.
Hey, this is your show.
Okay,
This is your world. I'm just living in it, all right? I think it was 2020 because we had just launched a company. And we were doing From the Show Floor.
From the show floor.
We partnered with New York SNA, Jennifer Martin. Shout out to Jennifer's
Jennifer's the
yeah,
best.
Jennifer's amazing.
If more states let her, I'm going to get in trouble.
But yes, you're right. You are absolutely
She's the bomb.
right. Yeah, she was. I consider her like a founding partner because whenever we were, I don't want to say fighting for survival, but like trying to make our way at the very beginning.
Right.
Her and I built a relationship, and she was one of the people that gave me an opportunity, gave me a shot.
Yep.
And brought together 10 other state associations so we could do this From the Show Floor idea that I had in a hotel. Because we couldn't go to conferences anymore because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. And you guys are one of the groups that came in.
That was great. So that's when it was. So 5. Okay, I'm telling. I was thinking with my wife last night because she had heard me talk about Marlon, right? Marlon. But when and I couldn't put it. I knew what it was from the show floor.
Yeah.
And not for nothing. Let's just change this for a second and go to you guys. The props that you should get for school nutrition is a tough market, right? A lot of people don't really give it, I guess, the respect that it needs. And what you guys have done, with the Served, the Digizine, it's unbelievable. And the SNA, God bless them, they've had their periodical forever, and it's cool. But everything you do, you just take it to the next level. And I was showing someone that at our office yesterday at Buyer's Edge, and he was blown away
Oh, thanks, man.
by it. But I mean, really, what you've done in 5 years it's incredible. And that, the whole school, what's it, this school meal?
This is school meals.
That, I'm telling you,
Yes.
that like struck when I watched the video. I'm like, first of all, it's cool. You do a great job with that. Yeah. But it's so important because, not to get political, but, when Michelle Obama changed, some of the things that had to be done in that, I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of debate on that, and I'm not here to say if it was or it wasn't. But I think after that, the ball was dropped tremendously because the door opened to talk about school meals, and nobody really kind of did anything.
Yeah.
But to do what you're doing because you came from that, and that there's school districts with chefs now, farm to table.
Yeah.
I mean, what they're looking at doing, the dietitians, I mean, that's gonna be a great thing. So anyways, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that This is School Meals video that I filmed was something that was it just hit me at ANC last year. This past ANC, I'm like, I've dabbled in the restaurant and the commercial world because we're strategic partners with Informa, who owns National Restaurant Association and Nation's Restaurant News and all those publications, right? And that's great. I love working with them. They're amazing. And the people in that industry are also amazing. But I was like, what? K-12 that's where my heart is, right?
Yeah.
And I need to actually focus on K-12, or I don't want it to sound bad, but actually try.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for the past 4 years, like I've just been kind of doing my thing, but never really been truly intentional, right? So I had this idea for This is School Meals, and I just could not get it out of my head. Like the script was in my head. So I ended up writing it on an airplane.
Oh, okay.
And I reached out to my friend DJ, and you've met DJ because DJ actually filmed from the show floor.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I got this idea. Can you knock out this video for me? It's kind of important. And the idea, and this happens all the time, like the idea I had in my head was like top notch, like amazing. But then I gave it to him, and he put that video together, and it just blew my mind. And we got a ton of positive feedback from it. Like since that video went out, I must have been on a call. Geez, I was probably on like sales / like update calls all day for like maybe like 2 weeks straight, just with industry members and school districts trying to get involved. USDA, like ICN, Urban School Food Alliance, like all these big names that appreciated me like coming out and saying something, but in a way that was like pushy, but not pushy, but like we just want respect.
Yeah, I want to.
Like
I
we
wouldn't
need
say
respect
pushy,
in K-12.
but that's it. And it's awesome though because it's, I mean, like you said, I think what is it, 38 million students.
Yeah.
Just lunches and 15 or 14 million, breakfasts or whatever. And you think of that, okay. And then people, their connotation is, well, they throw a hot dog and chips on their plate or whatever.
No,
it's so not that.
Kids are eating sushi in school.
I know.
Now. It's crazy.
It's so not that. And you see how some of the lines are set up now and the salad bars and everything. So anyways, kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And your growth has been amazing. It's been fun to watch you.
Well,
I consider you a friend from way back when. And the served, what does that get to, what, 30, 40,000 people a month? Or
more than that.
More?
Yeah, so our email list is actually over 100,000 people.
Holy moly.
If we're talking school district specifically, we're looking at like 55K plus or so. And the rest is like restaurants, nonprofits, and hotels and hospitals and all that. So we play in all the different areas of food service, even outside of food service too. Like we've done stuff for the Jamaica Olympic Society as well.
The bobsled team.
Made them a Digizine. Yeah. So my aunt is actually, she's involved with their marketing.
Okay.
So she's like traveling the world with Usain Bolt and all the other Jamaican track
Kidding
stars
me.
and all that. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, and I'm only asking because I was showing one of the execs of Buyer's Edge yesterday about the magazine because I said, you got to see this, Artie, and it's amazing, man. Here the Buyer's Edge platform, I think, got evaluated at like, I think $3 billion now, right?
Goodness.
Talking about John starting this thing and
man,
$3 billion, 38 companies, whatever.
Right there.
But hearing, seeing Artie, who's like second guy in line, been there a long time, just check this out. He was like, wow, it's so yeah. And I was giving him a little backstory, but I couldn't remember when the heck when we met or whatever. But anyways,
but Serve came to be because I worked in a school district and we would get magazines, and I would personally rarely read them unless like I was in it or my friends were in it, and I got that same feedback from other people too. And then with me being on the industry side too, and then understanding the importance of data and tracking clicks and checking views and all that stuff, right? I was like, how can we provide a solution for school districts so they have something that's edutaining that they could consume, right? And then manufacturers so they can get the return on the investment that they want. But then for us as well, because we have all of this video content, like tons of video content. What do we do with it? Just throw it on YouTube? Do you just put it on social media?
Yeah.
Like, where does it go? And then I was talking to Ashley, my wife, who is back there right now filming us on her camera. And she was like, well, hey, like, you're a nerd, and in Harry Potter, pictures come to life. Can't you do that, like, in some sort of, like, magazine? And I was like,
Nice.
oh, my gosh. I'm going to make a digital publication, digital magazine. We're going to call it a Digizine, and you can read it, watch it, or listen to it, and the pictures can be videos. It comes to life. You can track analytics with the clicks and links and all that. And that's how Serve came to be.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I remember the first one, and I don't know where we ran into each other, and you're like, hey, Joe, check out this new whatever.
Yeah.
And I did in the hotel that night because we were at a trade show somewhere, and I was like, so anyways.
And it's come a long
kudos
way.
to you, man. You
long way since then.
And this is your element.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Thank you. And I have to give credit to Sarah Kolchak on her team. So Sarah actually won an award for Serve. That's it right back there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we got that a year ago.
Nice.
So we were rated one of the best publications in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Crazy.
Coming from the school nutrition department. Who knew?
I never would have thought I'd ever be here. I was talking to some directors last night. So the Alliance K-12 Directors Group is in town.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of them before?
No.
Okay. So this guy named David Kaplan started this group, and they pretty much solve problems for industry. So it's a group of directors, and these are like super innovative directors. And they meet up a few times a year, whether virtually or in person, and they solve problems for industry members, right? It could be recipe development, it could be packaging, it could be marketing, like whatever it is. So for some reason, David loves to come to Dunedin, Florida. And I'm like, oh, perfect. That's 45 minutes away. So whenever you guys are in town, I'm going to kind of respectfully crash your party. So I meet up with my friends who come in town after they do their dinners or whatever, right?
It's interesting.
Yeah, so I completely lost my train of thought, just like that. I was so excited thinking about the Alliance.
You got all fired up there for a minute. No, but
man,
there's a lot of little groups like that we probably don't even know.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's what it was.
Okay, we're back.
My old director, right?
Yeah,
So
we're back.
The
Was it
late
Julie?
great Julie Hadeen.
Yeah, Julie.
Yes. So Julie allowed me to come out of my shell when I was at Pasco to do the things that I'm doing right now. And it was funny. I was looking back on some old like video footage from years ago, like over 10 years ago.
Right.
And it was interesting to see that the things that I'm doing right now as NxtGen Network, I did at Pasco for like professional development.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd always
Wow.
I don't really love doing like keynotes or speeches or whatever. So back then I would take a presentation and turn it into like a TV show. So at that point, like I was playing, like it was a game to me. So like I was educating you and training you, but we're doing it in the form of like a talk show or something like that.
Gotcha.
But Julie allowed me to do that, and I met her. She connected me to the Alliance K-12 Directors Group, and that's how I got onto that tangent.
Okay.
But yeah.
No, that's interesting. I didn't know. So, anyways, I'm gonna go. Can I go back to Cool School Prime?
Oh, we're done talking about me?
Well, I have some questions I want to ask you, but I know it's your show. But I know if I don't get this in, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yes.
So going back to Cool School Cafe, right?
Yeah.
The best in the business. Their penetration, I think 98% of school districts in America are part of this company.
Are you kidding me?
Excuse me.
I knew it was a big number.
Big
I know
number.
it was 98%.
Yeah, I think it's like 15 or 16,000 districts are involved. Now, some of them are not as engaged as they need to be, and all of that. But I mean, really good engagement, 10, 11,000 districts.
Gosh.
So when John, decided to purchase the company, it was because he wanted to get into K through 12 space. It was one that he had not been in, and it was there, and And, you know, it was, how do we take it to the next level? Because that's what he does with all his companies.
Yeah.
So the Cool School Prime idea was that the basic, we call it the legacy program, Cool School Cafe, has about 50 manufacturers that they work with. They do a great job. They're kind of like a marketing arm, you know, for them. And, you know, that's, they get points on items that districts purchase every day, which is great. How we make it the prime and how I say, took that company and put it on steroids is the Buyer's Edge platform has over 350 manufacturers, track over 175,000 line items for reward points, and then we added the rebate portion to it, cash rebates. Now, we're the biggest and the best in the business. We started 2.5 years ago. The prime side of the business is already at about 14 or 15 million students enrolled. Yeah, it's crazy. We really, and the reason being is simple. And why wouldn't you want to do it? If you're Mr. School District and you love Cool School Cafe, and let's say you get 100,000 points. Mm-hmm. Well, what we just discovered was we had been saying, because we have so many more contracts, that the number would be 200 to 300% more, 2 to 3 times more. Well, what we figured out last week, because we finally got all the metrics back on the first 2 years, and it's really like 7 or 8 times points.
Wow.
So if you're getting 100,000 points, you opt into Prime, you're going to get 700,000 or 800,000 points plus a cash rebate. Mm. So this is, and I don't like the word no-brainer. I really don't. Yeah. But it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, and the folks love, so, you know, obviously our goal is to get every member of Cool School Cafe opted into Cool School Prime. There's no competitors out there that do both. There's some rebate processors, right? Mm-hmm. And they do a good job, whatever. Yeah. There's 2 or 3 of those. But our rebates, because of the contracts of the bigger picture of Buyer's Edge, the worst case scenario, we're even. Yeah. We're normally 20 to 30% more. The key to it, though, is that points.
So what does opting in look like for a district who is just on Cafe?
It's almost too simple.
Yeah.
They log into their Cool School Cafe portal, and there's a thing that says opt in for free. They just hit it, opts it in. Now, what we do is we get all the account numbers, make sure. Oh, this is the other thing, too. A lot of the districts that are not that engaged on the Cool School side, for a long time, they didn't have EDI, electronic transmission of data. So they would have to like send in 6 months of invoices or get their Cisco guy to do it or whatever. And these food, you know, the directors right now, you know, they're all underwater. Everybody's short help.
Yeah.
You know, so for them to take the time to have to get their own data in a lot of cases, that's why a lot of those districts just fell off. Some of them also were kind of small. Their points didn't add up to much. They didn't do much. We've kind of solved all that. All of our data gatherings electronic.
That's
big.
helpful.
And when the district hears, now wait, I can sign up and I don't have to do anything, and it's free. So again, we just took a great company and we just put it on steroids, kind of renamed part of it. The goal is to get every district in. Now there's some that won't be able to if they're with a GPO, you know what, Airmark or a Sodexo or Chartwells or whatever. The manufacturers don't allow it. If they're with an HPS, a Premier, you know, those companies, again, they can't because the manufacturers consider that, you know, they won't pay on the rebates. But I'm really proud to say what we've accomplished in 2 years. We're definitely the leading, you know, well, really the only reward point guy, but now combined rebate process, we're the leading, and we just see a total upside. This 7 times points is going to be huge.
Yeah, it is huge. All right, so
and hold on.
Oh, but there's more.
That's because now partnering with you guys to be able to use points for some of your services, which will have everybody in our catalog. You know, maybe that district that might not have been able to afford something, with 7 times, they're going to be able to do it. There's few districts that are getting. I keep thinking of stats. In 2.5 years, we've given over $11 million in rebates, but 350 million points. 350 million points.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So, you know, like you said, I mean, how do we help the meal program? Well, if you get cash back into your coffers, right? Most of these lunch, excuse me, most of the districts are upside down, or they get these points that they can redeem for much needed services. Now, NxtGen has some stuff I know I saw, and how do you lose?
Yeah,
It's so, to me, critical to get the message to all the districts that aren't opted in yet. And Andrea at the office, who you guys know well.
I love Andrea.
Yeah, she's awesome. But she's putting together a lot of stuff with Katie and Stephanie, and on our side. But we have big plans for this year because both of our companies, although Cool School Cafe is one company under the umbrella of Buyer's Edge, right? With us now really focusing and combining together, we can work together. We'll both make more money together. Yeah. The districts will benefit together. So it's
kids win.
Kids win, man. You got how you help these meal programs. Let's last year we had, I think the number was, and I may be wrong, 80 districts that used their points to get to ANC, where their districts did not have the funding to do it. Well, with the increase in points that we're seeing, it might be able to be 200 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty passionate about it because I think we've really, what we really set out to do with John Davey and myself, and back when we started this, right? You're thinking this is where you want it to go, and then there's a whole slew now of other things that I'll tell you about a little later. But now we got to go back. Now we got to go back to you. But there's just more to what we can do for the district than points and rebates. Yeah.
Well, real quick. So let's use Red Gold as an example. They're one of your partner industry company or manufacturers. So if I'm a school district, I'm actually receiving Cool School points for buying Red Gold tomato-based products. It's that simple.
That's simple.
So I just do the thing that I always do, and you guys are going to give me points for it.
Yeah. We, with the electronic feed, like it's kind of hard to explain and a little over my head, okay? IT-wise. You would figure it out in a minute. But, your invoices come in. Like I said, we have 175,000 line items that we track. It goes through our system, pings them all out. They send away to Tyson. They send away, at the end of the course. Some are on monthly, some are quarterly. To Red Gold, to Jenna, for wherever the hell they all go. Yeah. The manufacturers take them all. They just audit everything, and then it comes in, and then we just split it all up per district. The district gets their check with a listing of the manufacturers, what they earned in by school, and they also get their points just deposited right in their account. So it's easy, and it needs to be easy again because they don't have time to deal with this stuff,
And I have to say, like, this wouldn't really apply to a school district, but being your partner has made my job easier because working with school districts, like we represent a few different districts out there as a marketing agency, right? Technically, we can't even invoice them until the job is done, right? Or if someone's signing up for a master class, we can't just send them an invoice right away. But if they pay with Cool School points, they use their points, and you pay me right away. Yeah. So it completely flipped how we do business in terms of invoicing, and it's just been honestly a huge blessing.
That's awesome. Yeah. And again, seeing that our points are even worth more than I thought. Yeah. It's going to help you. It's going to help the district. They're going to have more to spend. Yeah. You guys, are in the catalog of what you want, what you offer. And it's, so we'll obviously be doing more together. So I guess we have to get along.
We do. I've always kind of liked you.
I know. I kind of like you too, but
Yeah, one of these days we got to hit the gym together, though. We were kind of talking about that off camera.
Yeah, I'll try to keep up with you, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think I will try and keep up with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an old man now.
Yeah. Well, I hope when I'm your age, I look like you.
I appreciate that. I like that. Can you make sure you got that?
Yeah, I mean, you're what, 75? You said.
Okay, great. Can we have a bathroom break now, little kid? No. But that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So now I got to tell you a little more. Okay. This is exciting. So, I was talking about the brands under Buyer's Edge platform. Yeah. And again, John's vision was, let's create the biggest and the best, which we have and we're on the way to doing. But what other value add services can we give the districts? So we have the largest produce GPO group in the country. It's a fresh division, we call it. They do virtually every chain out there. They do casinos. They do large restaurants. They golf everywhere. And it's pretty specialized because produce, like, people don't think about produce, but it's a quarter, 10% of their spend, the districts. But how do they know if they're getting great pricing, if they're doing whatever? This company, what they do is they go right to the growers. They guarantee you a certain amount of volume, and they have high-low contracts, right? Sometimes there's something goes on and romaine goes from $20 to $40.
Yeah.
That district's going to pay that.
Yeah.
Well, now we've created this fresh division for schools. It's called Cool School Fresh. We rolled it out last year to see how we go. I think there's about 50 schools on it, but it's traceability. God forbid somebody gets sick or something. We know exactly where it comes from.
That's huge.
And I'm definitely not a know-it-all when it comes to the fresh division. We have people that deal with that, but Logan, who handles that for us, I think they did $5 million last year with schools. They do a high-low contract. Getting back to that, let's say they say, okay, Mr. Marlon's Produce House here in Tampa, you can charge up to $24 or $16, depending on where that is. But you can't go over. So if something happens in that remains $40, you're going at $24. They also take a lower margin because they're able to guarantee these produce houses. Look, we know that Pasco is going to use $3 million in produce. What can you bid wise? So they'll lower their margin on it. So the school wins in margin, quality, all of that. And that's, again, another value add that we want to get into. How about this one? We have a company called AeroStream, Inside Track. What they do is they do invoice auditing, and they do contract auditing. So let's say, Marlon's distributor bids on Pasco again, and you're the distributor, and you bid at 8% over cost or whatever. People make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You got people keep punching stuff. This company, the invoices go through their database against the contracts. It sees if anybody's been overcharged. Again, not maliciously at all, right? Our company does this for companies all over the country. Last year, I think the number was we got $1.2 million back for Caesars Casino. That's how many mistakes were made. So Cincinnati Public just signed on with this AeroStream company.
Yeah.
And it's going to house their contracts. It's going to, all the invoices. Who the hell has time to do that? And even if it's $100, $200 a week, you find in mistakes.
Yeah.
That goes back to the meal program.
Exactly. Back to the kids.
Chef Works, anybody that's with Cool School Prime and wants to, work with Chef Works, they get 35% off invoice.
What's Chef Works?
Chef Works is all chef clothes, pants.
Okay.
For the folks that work on the lines and in the cooks and all that. Shoes for crews, right?
Shoes for crews, I like that.
We have it's a company that does the shoes that non-slip and all that stuff like that. But there's
can you get me an orange chef coat?
I
need to order one.
Yes, it's just my point is we want to start here, build this up. We want to get to 10,000 districts on Cool School Prime, right? And add these ancillary programs. So, we mean a lot more to you than just those reward points in that rebate check, although that's a huge thing. Yeah. There's so many things that we can do to help.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what's funny? I was visiting with the school district in California back in like October, something like that. And the director I was hanging out with, he had to take a call. He had a meeting scheduled, but he still wanted to hang out with me, right? So I was there for his meeting, and he kept calling it Fresh. And he was talking to some group about produce, and I didn't really dive into asking what it was, but I didn't realize that he was talking to you guys. He was talking to you guys. Yeah. And I guess there was actually a farmer on the line too, with someone from your organization, I believe.
Wow. Yeah. See, and that's new, right? I mean, the produce division of Buyers Edge has been around, I think, 10 or 12, 15 years, whatever. We just created the Cool School Fresh.
Yeah.
So just another offering. I think there's a lot that we can do. For everybody's meal program, save them money, give them some consistency, and I don't know.
Does Buyers Edge have like their own events or conferences or something? Because you guys offer so many different solutions that
really,
are valuable.
it's really funny. They have a couple, like they're really heavy into technology. If you ever looked them up, you see what they do. But they do have a few all around kind of that they go to.
But I mean, like, think about it. Like, even if it was just K-12 specific, you have all these manufacturers that I'm sure would love to do chef demonstrations, culinary demonstrations, training.
That's true.
To all these districts. You have the produce side. You can go do like tours on farms. You guys do it all. Talk about IT technology.
Yeah. No, there is. There is. Speaking about that, they AI is be big, and we have a division that's working on that. But you got this Ask Jen.
I do.
Like, how cool is that? And I was looking it over after talking to Andrea a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, how do we make this an offering, again, an added on offering that Cool School Prime can have that nobody else can have?
Yeah.
Little did I know she had already talked to you about this. So I was a few steps. You're always ahead of everybody, but you had already kind of gone there with her. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that thing, that is really cool, man.
Yeah. So we call her Jen.
Yeah.
And Jen actually came to be because
why Jen? Why?
Well, because of NxtGen.
Okay.
So Jen. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe there was an old girlfriend. No, don't be that. Okay.
Hey, my wife's back there.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay.
But no. So there's been lots of talk about AI, right?
Yeah.
And my old friend / mentor, Tommy Wofford, he actually founded and sold Meal Viewer. He's in technology, right? So he calls me up one day and he's like, hey, he was like, do you think that there's a place for AI in schools? And I'm like, heck yeah. I was literally just talking to a group of directors about this last week. And he was like, I think I have something for you. And I was like, well, what is it? And he was actually developing an AI for his pastor at his church. And the whole idea was that this pastor who'd been, pastoring for 30 years plus, all of his sermons, like the Bible, all of his teachings, everything was loaded into this AI. And if a member of the church had a question or whoever it was, they could actually ask the AI and get a response similar or just like what the pastor would have said based on his teachings or the Bible, right? And so he told me that, and he was like, well, I was like, okay, well, can it do like this, this, and this for schools? He was like, Marlon, it can do that and more. So we actually formed a new company. So I guess I technically am like a serial entrepreneur now. So so we have a new company, and NxtGen Network is like the public facing portion of it. And then Tommy's handling all the IT stuff from behind the scenes. So he developed this AI in like 3 months.
Wow.
And he said he was going to do it. And like, I believe him because he's a friend and a mentor, but I want to see that to believe it, right? This is a pretty big ask.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. 3 to 4 months. So as of right now, Jen is trained on like everything USDA, right? Knows everything about FNS. She's trained on marketing. We can train her on equipment. So let's say we have, a school district that have a bunch of like Blodgett combi ovens, right? Well, so Jen can actually tell that employee how to maintain the combi ovens, how to clean them, like how to cook things. Jen can provide you with like menu inspiration. Like you could tell Jen, hey, I have 700 Tyson chicken patties. I have 3 pallets of red gold tomato salsa. I have, I don't know, like fajitas, whatever. Like you give her like a list of all the different ingredients you have, and you can ask her, well, hey, how can I make this into a reimbursable meal? Or how many reimbursable meals can I make? Wow. And she will tell you exactly what you need to do.
Jeez.
It is wild. And it was funny. Last week, I reached out to one of my friends, who's a director in Texas, and we've been trying to find people to stump Jen, all right? Because we have to make it better, right?
Yeah.
So she asked me a question about like portion sizes with blueberries. It had to deal with the USDA purchasing guide or buying guide. And Jen was off by like 0.05% or something like that. But her being good at her job, she realized that. She was like, she's like, that'll work, but it can be more specific. And she was like, I don't know if you could like train Jen and make it better. And I was like, watch me. So I get back to her. It was within 2 hours, but literally I trained Jen in 5 minutes. And the response that she gave after the training was spot on, exactly what they wanted. So, and it's important to note too that with more people using AI, that's fantastic. It's great. But in the role of a school district, you have to be careful because you have to make sure that nothing gets ChatGPT. I mean, I use it literally every day.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about where it's pulling that information from.
Right.
Because they could be pulling information off of Wikipedia, right?
Yeah, bad information.
But Jen, she only knows what we allow her to know. And the only bias she has is towards dates. So
Wow.
if a policy comes out from the USDA, Jen will know it right away. But if they release a new policy, like 2 weeks later, or whatever, Jen will refer to the newer one first before she talks about the old one, because the old one is non-existent anymore. It's not relevant. So yeah, Jen is pretty amazing. She's like your own personal assistant.
And how do you plan on rolling that out? Like on a subscription kind of basis, or like maybe to groups of a co-op where they can, kind of all help pay for it, or individual district? Or are you kind of still just thinking it through?
Oh, we thought it through.
I should have figured. Yeah.
So we are currently making Jen available to school districts, right? So it's $960 per district.
Gotcha.
And that will allow everybody in that food service program to have access to Jen. So like, it's not just admin, like managers can use Jen too for $960 a year. So the same way you wanted to make your services, like too good to say no to, we did the same thing. So it almost kind of be, in my eyes, with how much I use AI and see how the world is going, how much more efficient and innovative and like provide so much inspiration for things. I'm like, $960 for a year, that is not a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money.
And it's gonna save you money. I mean, I'm not trying to replace
$80 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not trying to replace jobs here, but
$20 a week.
Jen can do the job of like 1 to 3 employees.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then thinking of our companies, like, maybe, again, as an added value for a Cool School Prime, maybe we can take a portion of points and pay that for the district.
Yeah.
Towards a subscription or whatever. And, maybe we could do. I'm just thinking, and I obviously I'm a fossil when it comes to this AI stuff. I can't even figure it out. I'm lucky I know how to spell my last name still, but you just wonder if maybe there's a way too where Jen, it could ask Jen, hey, what manufacturers are on Cool School Prime program, or what items, or Jen can recommend, knowing what has rebates and what doesn't have rebates.
Yeah.
If you use these chicken fingers manufacturer, blah, 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 you'll get, a rebate and a reward point on it versus using.
Yeah.
So we can maybe be able to push our manufacturers even somehow into, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, we could absolutely do that. I mean, I'm pretty confident if Jen could break down and explain the USDA buying guide to a school district, that she could definitely do that.
Yeah, but again, I mean, they're using points now to go to the ANC or wherever.
Yeah.
So we can use points or provide some kind of mutual value to offset some of that cost, which I mean, come on, $20 a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, maybe, so this is okay. We gotta,
I mean, like,
we gotta look into that.
Like, think about a district like you mentioned Miami-Dade earlier. Like, they have an account, and imagine how much money like districts like them, or like Dallas or New York or LA, like these mega districts, $960, and their staff of like 2,000 people has access to an AI.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And even still, for the smaller
speaking
districts,
points wise, I mean, I don't think they'll be mad at me for saying, but I think they got 4.5 million bonus points last year.
Man, that's some volume right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even,
that's interesting.
even for small districts, though, I mean, 960 for even a single school for a year.
We gotta, we need to co-promote that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I told you off camera, like I love working with you guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we got it, because again, anything to help. Recipes, that's kind of got to be tough, right? Because of the nutritionals and all that kind of stuff. Was that all fed in the Jen? That's probably got to be a little tough.
So we are not a analysis software. We don't want to have to deal with the USDA guidelines and all that. But she can actually give you recipes.
Right.
So like if you want some suggestions or inspiration, she will actually do that. If I had my phone on me right now, I would go ahead and show you.
Huh.
But yeah, I'll show you later.
Okay.
She does all the things.
Yeah, I'm glad because I just kind of heard about that and saw that and thought,
Yeah, I mean, and we're partnering with people with like ICN, like they're the largest provider of free professional development, and we're working with them to make Gen better.
Right.
Dairy Inc. Is super interested in Gen, and we're finding ways to collaborate as well too. And some really large organizations. We even pitched it to the USDA, so we'll see what happens with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the AI thing can definitely help differentiate us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yeah.
Think about the data too. We're gonna be ahead of all the trends. All the trends.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool school.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool School Prime. I like that.
Or Gen Prime. Ask Gen Prime.
Nice. Ask Gen Prime.
Well, and you know what too? That's another thing. So we have our version of the AI called Gen, right? But we're actually we can make a version specific to anything. So like as of right now, we're making a version for 2 separate school districts, and it's going to look, sound, and be branded those districts, and also know everything about those districts too. Like their menus, their HR policy. So if an employee wants to take a day off, well, hey, Jen, how do I take a day off? Jen tells them right there and then, right? So we could make a Gen Prime. That would be kind of cool. It would have all your branding, or maybe it's a Joe Prime. It could be a Joe Prime.
Well, yeah. I don't know if they'd allow that. They may want the Gen Prime. I don't know. I'll take Joe. But we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, like even like down to like the voice and the accents and all that. We could customize all that.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to make my Italian now.
Absolutely, yeah. I like the idea.
You knew that was coming.
Joey Prime.
Joey Bag of Donuts.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know. Can I ask what the numbers on your jersey mean? I've been wondering this since I sat down.
All right. Okay.
All right.
So I'm a Christian.
Yes.
Right? I'm only here because of the blessings from above, right?
Great.
So that ties into it. Now the numbers are 3 and 7.
Okay.
So 3, at the age of 3, I had my first memory, right?
Okay.
So it was my 3rd birthday party. There was a clown there and all that. 3 years old in New York, Jamaica, Queens. So that's where 3 comes from. And then 33, so 3, because Jesus died at 33, right? And then 7, because 7 is a number that like repeats itself in the Bible, like in the 7 days in the week. Like there's 7 like all over the place.
Yep.
And then 33 also is kind of, that was the year that I always had in my head that things would change for me, right? And when I was 33 was when I left Pasco to go work for Meal Viewer, and then that's when that's what put me on the path to get here today, is doing that. So that was like probably the biggest life change I ever had.
Wow.
And then 37, I had the number in my head too, thinking something big would happen at 37. At 37, something did, like strategic partners with Informa, the company grew, and all the stuff happened at 37. So I like to put the number 3 and 7 together, whether it's just 3, just 7, or 37 or 33, that sort of thing. So that's kind of just like a conversation starter for me to kind of share a bit about my story and my faith and that sort of thing.
And I feel so inadequate with my stupid numbers now. Like you,
what are your
you have
numbers?
Legit, like that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good
Thank
for you.
Yeah, even on my
I
license
have crap now. Now I'm thinking like my member. All right, I'm going to tell you anyways, because I'm 4 and 22.
Okay.
Okay. And because, everything's all about me,
Yeah.
my hockey number was 4.
Okay.
Growing all the way up through high school.
Yeah.
And my football number was 22. And so, I'm so goofy that those numbers have to still mean something.
Yeah.
So when I got engaged to my lovely wife, I was going to do it on the 4th.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of a funny story. I was playing college football at St. John Fisher in Rochester. And I got I had told her mother that I'm going to propose Saturday the 4th. Okay. Because, God forbid I think outside any other number but me. And and we had a game that day. I got my chin split open. Ooh. Had to go to the hospital to get it stitched up during the game. Well, in the meantime, my mother-in-law, who, couldn't keep anything quiet, decides she's going to have a surprise party after I propose, had 25 people come and all that. She calls my house. We didn't have cell phones back then. And says to my mother, is Joey okay? I heard he had to go to the hospital to get stitched up. Now, Yeah, I just talked to my husband, my dad. They're coming home in a little bit. Well, how's he going to do this? We got to do this thing tonight.
Wait, so did your mom know?
My mom knew.
Okay,
yeah,
all
she
right,
had gone home already. She was at the game too. She had gone home. My dad came to the hospital with me. All right. So I get stitched up. Now now they would stitch it up and put a little thing like this. Well, if you could have seen what I look like.
Yeah, the strings
They
hanging
stitched
out.
it up. I had this thing put on like this, wrapped around my head. I'm not even kidding you. So I go home and I call her and I'm like, I can't do this tonight. You have to cancel this. I could, She said, we can't cancel. We got everybody coming around. So I actually got engaged that night with this goofy thing on my, I'm telling my wife, anyway.
I would love to see those pictures.
So that's 4, right? So then
Yeah.
my football number, 22 in high school and college. And shout out to St. John Fisher, championship ring, blah,
let's
blah,
go.
blah. Okay. I had to get married on the 22nd, right?
Okay.
My wife was like, really? You got to
Yeah.
get married? Uh-oh.
That's busy man.
Got to get married on your football number?
Yeah.
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 So 4 and 22. And my oldest boy wore 22.
There you go.
Youngest wore 4 in hockey. Yeah. So I kind of passed down my goofiness to them. So that my story doesn't resonate like yours. Yours is really
It's
cool.
good too.
Mine is kind of just all about him.
It's
yeah.
special to you. So
yeah.
it's all good.
So that's it. The 4 and 22.
Yeah, I love
To
it.
this day, everything is 4 and 22.
Yeah.
Oh, if I left this out, my daughter would kill me.
Oh,
She was a field hockey star in Buffalo wearing 22.
there you go.
Okay, just saying.
There you go.
Okay.
So field hockey, that's getting pretty popular, like even down south here.
Yeah.
Because back when I was in school, there was no field hockey at
Yeah,
all.
she was a dancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was pretty athletic, but a great dancer. She was in a travel dancing company in Buffalo that was like nationwide. They'd win awards and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Very committed and a lot of work, which was heavy spring.
Mm-hmm.
So when she was little, she played softball. She had to make a choice, but she still wanted to play something in school. So up north, the field hockey was in the fall.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so for her it made sense, kept her in shape and all that. And game's kind of a weird game. There's a million whistles and stuff,
yeah.
but the girls are good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good little team. Yeah, it's so
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What do you play in football? What position?
running back and defensive back.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have a preference between the two?
Well, I like to hit people.
Yeah.
So defensive back was cool, but I was blessed with good speed because I'm not the biggest guy in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I got away with I think actually running back better.
Yeah.
I ended up playing a slot back in college, which was like half running back, half receiver at that time, because we had a Division I athlete that flunked out of his Kansas State, came back home. He was 6'2", 205, ran like lightning, shows up. I'm a senior.
Yeah.
Show up to camp. He's a sophomore. I'm like, what's Bo doing here?
Yeah.
Well, he's playing. I said, Coach, I'm going to move to slot back now.
Yeah.
Because I knew I wasn't going to beat him out, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
then I got my hands on the ball both ways, so it was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I liked it.
That's
yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, any last words in regards to cool schools? Prime?
Cool School Prime. Just our goal is to get, like I said, every district out there
Yeah.
on our program. It makes sense. We're all about making value for the school meal program. The amount of points that we're generating is ungodly, and the rebates they don't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as we talked about before, having some of these ancillary products, doing something with you for sure, and your team and your catalog, and Jen, looking forward. I just think we're, being under Buyer's Edge, they're really forward-thinking people.
Mm-hmm.
We won't just be stigmatized as that rebate point guy.
Yeah.
And I just think it's, change is hard for people. Some people are still with another program, but man, it's you're going to benefit your district by moving to our program.
And how much does it cost to join?
Nothing.
Wait, it costs what?
Nothing.
So look into that camera and be like, Cool School Prime
Cool
is
School
free.
Prime will cost you nothing.
I love
But
it.
we'll give you rebates to put back into your budgets, and a lot of points to spend wherever you want.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
hey, I think we need to cheers on that. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Did you get this? Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and hang out
Oh,
with me.
man,
today.
I
It's always
really
a pleasure
appreciate you and-
chatting with you.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Knowing you a while now, respect you, everything you've done. And everybody out there, I know you know Marlon because but you really do have the school nutrition in your heart. Like you wear it on your sleeve. It's not a job to you,
No,
and that's so
passion.
many of us fall in that. It's a job thing. No way, not with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's
Not with
life.
you.
And once again, thank you. And like I would not be here if it weren't for amazing partners like you, because you gave us a shot back in the day, took a chance on us from the show floor. And yeah, it's because of founding partners like you that we're able to do what we do today. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yep.
It was awesome.
And I appreciate everybody out there for watching this episode of the Next Up podcast.
Yeah, I hope we didn't bore you to death. But.
No, definitely not.